Debris on 55 going south at Merrimack Bottom. That's got the 3 right lanes blocked. 55 going south at Merrimack Bottom. Stalled vehicle on 6440 going eastbound at Timberlake Manor. That's got the right shoulder blocked. 55 north at 255 on the right shoulder. And looks like that debris, it's down to 2 right lanes closed. 55 south at Merrimack Bottom.
Turning out partly sunny, very warm and humid this afternoon with a high near 90, then increasing clouds tonight, warm and humid, low 77, heavy thunderstorms for tomorrow. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Heather Zaire on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's a cloudy sky across the region, 82 in St. Peters and Florissant at 82 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. For over 65 years, Renner Garage Door has delivered top-notch service, sales, and installation. Get your free estimate today. RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back.
RENNER. RENNER.
This is the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX. Sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. And by Anderson Hospital, a Newsweek World's Best Hospital. Now the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Cardinal baseball coming your way this evening at 6:40. The Cardinals are in Chicago. They're taking on the White Sox, 5:45 pregame. And for the next half hour, we are joined by the Cardinals manager, the Gashouse Gang conversation with Oli Marmol, sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, National Leaders in Cancer, with Bernie Miklas, Chris Ranji, producer Matt Bajeski. I'm Tom Ackerman. We welcome in the manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol. Good afternoon, Oli. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? Can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I bet. You're ready to go. Get a big off day under your belt and then go today. I bet that was a much-needed off day for the St. Louis Cardinals.
It was, for a lot of reasons. It was good to kind of take a step back, regroup, and get ready to go today. But also just be able, family flew in, got to spend a day with them and kind of be normal for a day. And then kind of lock it back in and get after it. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Ali, I wanted to ask you, you guys went on the great run, and it was such a positive time all the way around. Even for you and your staff, you're feeling good. People are praising you. This is one question I've wanted to ask you since you started doing this, but, I kind of wanted to wait for the right time. When the club's going really through a bad stretch, and it's a lot of tough losses and it's a lot of games, and it's sort of, I would imagine it kind of beats everyone down to a point anyway. But how do you handle that as a manager? Do you go back to the hotel and punch the pillows? Do you how do you bottle up your frustration? Do you maintain a pretty good even keel? How do you handle it when it's really bad for you?
Man, no, I don't come back to the hotel and do that at all. I spend more time with the staff and making sure that everyone's in a good spot. And that's really the time you spend even more time with the players and a lot of individual conversations and making sure that people are in a good headspace and feel supported. I mean, there's nothing worse than going through a stretch as a player and feeling isolated. Like everybody's watching you, kind of like, hey, when are you going to get going again? Because you feel the pressure from a lot of different angles, from being evaluated from a contract standpoint, from a fan perspective. So you want to come alongside of those guys and just make them know that, hey, we've got your back. What do you need from us? So during times like this, I'm probably even more calm, to be quite honest with you, because I think that's really at the end of the day what's needed. The staff and the players don't need to feel the pressure of what's going on. They need to focus on continuing to do their jobs. So yes, is it ideal? Do I enjoy these times? No, but that's what you're built for. And it's when you're needed the most, to be quite honest with you.
There's a question. It's a follow-up to this, and it is from John, who is watching us on YouTube. And he's talking about clubhouse leaders during this time. And we're asking about you and what you can do as a manager during rough times. But what players are stepping up? Who leads during a time like this?
Yeah, so in the past, I've been on a lot of clubs where there's just one vocal leader, we have several guys that understand their role and step in when needed. So it's not just one voice, but there's a couple guys that do a very nice job of that on the pitching side and on the position player side. And those are the guys you tend to spend a little bit of time with, either away from the field or just kind of one-on-one, and making sure that messaging and they feel like they're in a good spot to lead. And sometimes, man, it's the toughest when those guys are the ones struggling too, because they don't feel like I'm in a position to lead right now. And you got to empower them to understand, like, hey, it's not your performance is what doesn't make you a leader. It's how you carry yourself and the respect that you've earned from the club, whether it's going well for you or not. Your voice is still needed. So you kind of lean on that as well. But I will say our clubhouse, although young, they do a really good job of that, and they're learning how to go through that together. When things are going well and you're rattling off 8, 9 in a row, I'm not needed. But the Donovans of the world and some of those guys, man, they're steady in their approach, and during times like this, man, Nato and Newt and a lot of those guys, it's where they'll learn to go through this together, and it's okay.
Yeah, the follow-up to that is I know that it was more like this, very much like this in baseball years ago, where the younger players always wanted to, step aside for the veterans, and that they didn't want to step on toes. Is it less like that than it used to be in modern baseball, or still about the same?
No, it's still about the same. I mean, guys get a pretty good read of the clubhouse, and when it's their turn and when it's not, and when to speak and when not to. I will say our older guys, our veterans, do a nice job of making those guys feel like they can speak whenever they have something, and it's not stepping on toes. It's just a matter of like, man, I have something that can help the group. But yeah, all the way from Wilson to Mason, I mean, there's a place for all of them to step in and lead. And in my opinion, they're doing a good job of that. This stretch sucks. I mean, it is what it is. But that clubhouse is in a good spot, and the guys are still playing. It's just not going our way.
Yeah, if I may submit a name, Wilson Contreras does things that I feel like fire the team up, and also is kind of the foundation of what you want to be: energy, competitiveness, and that performance on Saturday up and down the roster was fueled, I thought, a lot by Wilson Contreras. Would you agree?
Yeah, this is a guy that plays with a ton of passion, and it's contagious, right? Like you need one of those. You need a couple of them from time to time, right? But he plays with a ton of passion. He's an emotional guy, and when he was across the way, I hated seeing him in the box. I really did. But now that he's with us, man, it's a guy that competes extremely well, and you know exactly where you're going to get every day. It's not like he shows up fired up one day and takes a couple days off. Like this is him every day. So the consistency is awesome.
Oli, I wanted to ask you about this. Like, of course, the goal now is to kind of turn things around and get back on track. And if I could, I know I ask long questions, but it's for a reason. The club's 5-11 since May the 30th. Okay, here's the deal. In all of those losses, except for one, actually, in the 11 losses, either through the first or the second or the third inning, you've trailed 8 times. You've led 1 time, and it's been even 2 times. And to attach one of the reasons to that, like your starting rotation in the first 2 months was about 11th in ERA. This month, it's got the worst ERA in the majors, the starting pitching so far. So you obviously got to get your starters out of the gate pitching well again. And I know you're aware of that, but what do you think? Have you spotted some things that maybe will lead to some improvement? Like, tell us about how you can handle that, because it has been an obvious issue.
Yeah, they were very good in that stretch that we talked about, and they've gotten touched up a little bit in June. But it's not just one area. It really isn't. You look at our offense, you look at some of the things on the pitching side, the rotation, the bullpen. It's not just one specific thing. To your point, we have trailed quite a bit. There's not a real good reason for it, man. Some of the teams we've been playing make a lot more contact and have really good hitters, and they've given us a tough time. Like you play LA, yeah, we took 2 of 3. It was a really tough series. Toronto, if you were to set up a roster that would give us the most trouble, it's that group. for a lot of reasons. We pitch to contact, and those guys make a lot of it. They're the best in the league at it. So we knew that was going to be a tough matchup for us. And Milwaukee's a pesky group, man. So like, just the way it's lined up for the offenses against our pitching, it hasn't been the easiest. But we got to still solve for it. Our guys are feeling healthy. They're feeling good. So it's not a matter of fatigue or tired or that part of the season. Like, they're in a good spot. They've just gotten beat, and it's going to happen. It just sucks that it's all coming together all at the same time, because it's a combination of that happening, but also our offense not firing on all cylinders, right? You lose Donovan for a little bit, who's such a big part of the lineup. And then Newpar's going through his struggles, who sets the table at the top. Victor Scott's going through his struggles. Those two are table setters for the guys in the middle of the lineup. And other guys have cooled off a little bit, right? So it's all just happening at the same time, which is what you don't want. You don't want the offense and the pitching all coming together and struggling. But that's kind of where we're at. And we have to figure out a way to get Newt back on track. We got to figure out a way to continue to get Gorman in there. Man, Victor Scott to make more contact and be able to spray the ball across the field and do some of the things he was doing early on. So the league's starting to adjust to them. And we're going to have to kind of do the same and adjust back to the league. But so it's not just one blanket statement that I can make that'll cure this. It's a combination of things, Bernie.
Gotcha. One positive thing, since May the 26th, and I think it's been 15 games for him, Nolan Gorman leads the team in batting average, on base percentage, slugging, OPS, and he hit that 3-run homer against the lefty in Milwaukee. Wow, it seems like it's really coming together for him. We've asked you about him a lot, and a lot of he was rebuilding his whole plate approach with Brant Brown and everything else, and it was going to take time. And to your point, you told us that there was a reason why his bat was a little slow, because he was being more selective. And I hadn't heard that until you told us. So thank you for that. So we were paying attention to it. And you said he'll speed that bat up once he just gets a great feeling for what he's doing. Okay. His bat speed has improved by about 2 miles an hour during this stretch. So anyway, what do you see with Gorman? Is it just a matter of the hard work paying off?
I think so. And there's a process to it. And Brownie and that group have done a really nice job. And Gorman's put in a ton of work, man. And it always stinks whenever you don't see immediate results. But part of the process was, hey, man, we need more contact, less chase. And we started to see less chase. And then we started to see more contact, more ball in play. But they were singles and not a whole lot of damage. And the bat speed we talked about in a couple of weeks was down. But you have to trade something in order to make more contact. And then once you get your sights right, then you can start to drive a little faster. And that's what we're seeing. He's starting to actually put a little bit more behind the swing, and we're seeing more doubles and homers and more exit velo. So he's in a much better spot, and we need to continue to build on that, right? But that takes time. Like, Newpar's in a stretch right now that's, man, he's feeling it, and he wears it hard. Like, this guy cares. And we got to figure out what that looks like, because it's uncharacteristic for him to swing and miss and chase as much as we're seeing. And he needs to get back to the things that allow him to have success. So there's several guys that are going to go through that same process. It took Gorman a little bit of time to get to where we're at right now. And some of these guys, it's not going to be overnight either. Hopefully we can flip the switch and it'd be sooner than later. But we're going to need all of them to start clicking in order to overcome some of the other side of the baseball until that gets kind of in a good spot as well.
And Oli, the bunt from Gorman in the ninth against McGill was a tremendous play. I mean, I just loved it. And, you know, I looked at this question here from the real third man about the rest of that inning. You had Walker and then Scott and then Wynn all striking out to end that night. That I can't remember being so emotionally invested in a ninth inning. I mean, Arenado's at bat was incredible. I mean, one of the best I've ever seen from him. A 12-pitch at bat, then the bunt by Gorman, and then the 3 strikeouts. So the question here was about the approach of those 3, and the viewer says, I swear I could hear them thinking. There was a lot of thinking back and forth between pitcher and hitter throughout that inning, I thought.
Yeah, and that's where some of this gets exposed a little bit, right? You're facing a really tough arm in McGill, right? He's throwing 100, 101. But this is what they're all working on in Scott and Walker specifically, not so much Wynn, but it's just the ability to make more contact, not pull off. Victor kind of get out of the air as much as he has and be able to get on top of the ball and spray it all over the field. So it just gets exposed in a really meaningful spot. But it's what he's trying to do his first at bat, his second at bat, his third at bat. So yeah, that was a frustrating one because you just need a ball in play there, and we weren't able to get it after Gorman's bunt. In which, I mean, he saw the third baseman back. That it wasn't called. He just felt like it was something that he can pull off, and he gets it down and gets it done. But it sets up the other guys. Unfortunately, man, runner on third, less than two, we just couldn't do it. So that's where you get the kind of a little bit of the emotional roller coaster of the up and down because you just need a ball in play there.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll have more of Cardinals manager Oliver Marmol. We love this time with him. We appreciate your questions as well. We'll throw some more of those his way with Chris Ranji, Bernie Miklasz, the manager, Oli Marmol. I'm Tom Ackerman. You're listening to the Gashouse Gang on KMOX.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Taco to go, taco to, and a big Q. Taco to go, taco to go. Quick Trip Taco just $2.99. Comes with a big Q. This deal so fine. Brisket breakfast, so much to choose for $2.99. You really can't lose. Taco to go, taco to. This deal legit. Taco to go, taco. Only at Quick Trip. Taco to go, taco to go, taco to go. $2.99 to go.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
When it comes to DSPs, usability matters. Some platforms bury you in complexity. Results-driven advertising shouldn't look like a chemistry experiment. Viant's AI-powered DSP streamlines setup, automates measurement and optimization, and keeps you in control. Less clicking, more strategy. And with proven CTV leadership across premium publishers, Viant works smarter and delivers stronger. Why are you still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
11:20 a.m., 104.1 FM, and streaming on the Odyssey app. KMOX is with you, however you listen, wherever you listen.
We're back on the Gashouse Gang. Our conversation with Oli Marmol, sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. The manager is with us. Good to see him. With Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji, I'm Tom Ackerman. The Cardinals take on the White Sox tonight at 6:40.
So just in looking, Oli, at the standings, I know that fans do this. We pay attention to what's going on. And in my experience talking to any player or coach or anybody else, it always seems like the answer is, well, we don't really pay attention to who we're playing tonight. You know, just another game. Got to go out there and got to win. Or maybe they're not looking at standings. Is it really true that players are unaware of where the team is in the standings, even though we're in the middle of June, getting closer to the trade deadline? Is that a thing that guys are aware of at this point of the year?
Some are and some aren't. It just depends on their personality. There's some guys that they're aware of it after game one. And there's certain guys that won't peek at it at all. Until the very end. So it's based on personality. We have coaches that pay a ton of attention to it and some that rather just keep their head down and, hey, I'll look up at the end of, as we get closer to July, so it really does depend. I tend to kind of have my eye on it just to see kind of how the league's doing, not just our division, but just all the way across the way. But yeah, some do, some don't.
Oli, I wanted to ask you, of course, a key thing right now is the leadoff spot in Lars Nootbaar and all those troubles he's been having. You gave him a couple days to regroup. I assume he's going to be in there tonight, but Tell us about your thoughts on the leadoff spot. Like if he's returning to it, and then if he's still struggling, do you have some stuff in your head that you would turn to if you have to?
Donnie will lead off tonight, and give Newt a breather. Wynn will be in the 2, and we'll throw Herrera in the 3, and just allow Newport to have a little bit of a break. And it has more to do with a lot of the conversations I've had with him. He's seeing it well. He's just like he doesn't feel like he can do what he wants to do. And until we get back to that spot where he's confident in what he's doing, how his body's moving, and how he's reacting to pitches, then we'll stay put. And Donnie's done a nice job. He's done it before. He gets on base. He can walk with the best of them. He can take a tough at bat. So we have someone else that can do it for the time being, and we'll let Mason hit behind him and do his thing. So that's what it looks like as of today.
And your starting pitcher today is Matthew Liberatore. And without giving any scouting reports, of course, what is your overall feeling on how he has come along here, trying to get himself back?
Yeah, my hope last outing was just for him to be able to hold the velocity a little more and not see some of what we saw the previous outing. And he came out of that outing feeling really good. He felt strong. He recovered well. His bullpen was good. So we're in a good spot there. That was my main concern. But from a fatigue standpoint, he feels like he's actually in a good spot. So I would expect him to be the guy that we've seen all year. He had that little blip there, but he's actually in a good spot. So I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight.
Bill is watching on YouTube and regarding Liberatore is asking about who is catching him, whether it's Pages or Pozo, and if maybe there's a preference there.
So what we've done in order to keep a rotation of keeping Pages fresh, but also allowing what you saw for several times through is Herrera had Palante in order to focus strictly on game planning for Palante. Pozo had Libby, and he can focus on his one guy. It allowed Pages to have the other 3 guys, and it kept everybody engaged and fresh. With the off day, we'll go Pages behind the plate today, and he's caught him before. He feels good about it, so this will kick off this next stretch after this off day.
So this is another push until your next off day. I think that comes July 3rd. So the obvious question we're all wondering about is, do you go to a 6-man rotation now? And if not right now, then when would that kick in?
Yeah, so we've planned that out all the way through this stretch. I think we will. We definitely want to see how we get through this series, and when we get back home, that'd be the time that we can take our shot there and keep everybody on a 6. But yes, that's worked really well for us up to this point, and we want to continue to put our guys in the best position to stay healthy. Our guys, because of the 6-man and the way we've used Mats and the way we've kind of brought up McGreevy, it's allowed them to be in a good spot. So we want to continue that, but that'd be once we get home from this Chicago trip.
Let's go from starter to closer. You got a couple of questions on here about Helsley. Bill wants to know what's up with Helsley. There's another one here that's a little more detailed about his mechanics. Here it is. Why does Oli think that Helsley's struggling? Is there an issue with the mechanics or sequencing or something else?
Yeah, we're constantly looking at sequencing. Anytime someone's not getting the swing and miss that they used to, or getting touched up more than we think they should, then the sequencing is something Dusty will always pay attention to and make sure that we're not falling into any patterns as far as how we're getting into counts, or there's a decent amount that goes into that one. Mechanically, no. If you were to ask me within the first 3 weeks of the season, there was definitely something going on there that was not allowing Helsley to be Helsley. He's past that, and this is now not mechanics. It's more on execution, which, hey, we're going to need this guy to be who he is. And there's some randomness to that closing role, but at the same time, we're going to make sure that there's nothing that we're missing in order for him to have success. So Dusty, Hooley, Keek, that whole group, man, they're working hard at it, and they'll continue to.
If I have a follow-up on that, there's a guy that who's done a lot of StatCast stuff for Baseball Prospectus and others, and he had a thing about Helsley's arm angle is higher this year, and he was wondering whether that has something to do with it. Because Oli, I got to say, you know this, man, but Helsley's 4-seam fastball has just been getting crushed, and right-handed hitters are really crushing it. And I don't know if there's a tell Does it have anything to do with his arm slot? I don't know, man. Just I know you answered the question, but maybe elaborate on a couple of those things.
Yeah, we're constantly looking at tells. He actually fell into some things in previous years that we keep an eye on, that obviously give the opposition a little bit of an advantage there. So we're constantly looking at that every single outing. The sequencing definitely comes to mind. The fastball is actually in a better spot than it's ever been when it comes to like the vertical break on it and being able to get swing and miss with it. It's not happening at the rate that we would expect. So it's something that, and not to repeat myself, but it's just the only answer I'm going to give publicly without diving into the details of what exactly we're looking at. But it's something that Dusty's diving pretty deep into to make sure that we solve for, and not just dependent on, there's some randomness to this. We want to make sure that we are not missing anything. So that's as detailed as I'll get with the group. Yeah.
Regarding younger players, I know it's difficult to not notice the way Thomas Ajayci has played and JJ Weatherholt. And while they are both, and we've had a lot of people ask about both of them, a lot of fans have asked about both of them. They're in different places of their careers. But when you see what's going on, is there almost an instinct to want to go to one of them or try and give them an opportunity?
All right. You mind if I ask you a question?
You may, and I won't have an answer. I will not have an answer, but you go right ahead.
Well, I can just ask the group then. I feel like I do always do this to you, Chris. You ask a question, I'm like, I got a question for you.
Because I don't know. I know nothing, so you're just going to push it.
No, stop your nonsense. No. It's for who? Like my question would be for who, right? Like that's fine. You want him up here, and then fill in the blank as far as who you want out, and then who does he play for? Whose at bats is he taking? Like we already have enough trouble getting at bats for guys. Like who do you think we should send out in order to get him up here?
That's a fair question. My question to you is Gorman, and Bill is asking this. Is
yeah,
Gorman, there's your guy right there.
Bill's got three. I think it's him just being Jay Lee, but no, I'm just kidding. Here's what I got. I want to get Gorman as many at bats as possible. Okay. It'll have to be in a rotation because of the other guys behind the plate. You're still wanting to, like, Nootbaar has to be Nootbaar for this to work. Like that's just the reality of how our roster is built. Like he's got to get back on track. So you have to give him opportunity to do that. And no different with Walker. If he's going to be up here, he's got to kind of get into a stretch where he's playing somewhat regular. So the part that we go back and forth on is Donnie's been so good at second base. And he's been consistent both defensively and offensively. And a lot of it is because he's playing a consistent position. So you don't want to mess with that too much because it's been the strength. It helps our pitchers when that guy's playing second base. He's our best second baseman, hands down. Okay. And he's one of our best hitters. So providing him consistency should be part of the plan, which limits how that rotation has an opportunity to work. So that's why I said, like, getting somebody up here at the expense of who? Like, who you sending out?
What about,
like, someone right here just said, just to answer this, because this is fair, right? Someone just said respectfully for Barrero. So he didn't play. So you're bringing somebody up here for a spot that isn't an everyday or even a twice a week player. So that doesn't solve for anything. So I understand, like, just changing a roster spot, but that doesn't change who's actually in the lineup every day. So that's a non-factor, you know?
If you, one of the things we've talked about is maybe some of your guys, including Arenado, win Donnie. And you have to understand where I'm coming from. When I talk about days off, I mean, I'm not talking about Oli Marmol sitting these guys like 2 days in a row, but these guys play hard. They look like they get, worn down. They maybe could use more breathers. And in that scenario, if you were finding a way to get a little more rest for these guys, especially if they're not going well, you plug Sajasi in as like the Energizer Bunny, and he gets some things going like the way he did the last time. And you could keep him relatively busy. It wouldn't be ideal, right? But isn't there a way to get him enough at bats to make it worthwhile?
And not just to pound it off, but that's more of a question that the front office would have to participate in, right? Because do you want a young player playing 2 to 3 times a week, or do you want him completely developing so that when he has an opportunity, he's ready for it, right? So like, if you're asking me, the scenario you just gave is a real scenario where you can pop him over to second, give Wynn a day at short, put him at third, and have a decent rotation where he's playing maybe 2 to 3 times a week. Is that enough? Would be the question that they would have to answer. But at the same time, just know that that's kind of what you're going to want to do with Gorman if Walker's playing every day and Herrera's in the DH. You're going to have to spell Donnie a day. You're going to have to pop him over to third in order to give him enough at bats. So by bringing in one other person you have to do that with, it complicates it that much more. Is he hitting? Is he taking good at bats? Absolutely. You're going to be doing it at the expense of someone that, like a Newt Bar or somebody else, a Victor Scott, by moving Newt to center or giving those guys days off in order to get Donnie into left. I hear you. It'll complicate it as much as anything, but it is an option.
Oli, before Zachary asked made the Barrero comment, he did say that he appreciates that you're never scared to explain your reasoning behind a choice. Reminds me of showing your work in grade school. He also points out that Pope Leo, he was not in Chicago. He did it remotely, but he blessed the White Sox. The last thing are you worried about that? I will say this, Oli, people might not know this, but the Pope's dad was a Cardinals fan. It was revealed.
Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
When Pope Leo. Yeah.
He should listen to his dad then. Dang it.
Yeah.
So you're not worried about competing with the divine, as the listener says.
No, I don't. I'm gonna keep this comment to me. No, I'm good.
Okay.
It would do me no good.
That's right. Well, always having fun, and it's good to talk baseball. Pope fans, wherever they are, chiming in. We had a lot of good listener questions today. A lot of people participating. This show is really picking up, Oli.
No, I enjoy that part of it, man. They deserve to ask questions and get answers, and this is a spot for it. So I couldn't agree more with you.
Good to be with you always. Thanks for making yourself available. We will catch up with you again soon, and good luck tonight against the White Sox.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Manager of the Cardinals, Oliver Marmol, with us on KMOX. When we come back, Bernie Miklasz stays with us to talk a little bit more, our reaction to what we heard, and a little more on tonight's matchup, plus some movement in the National League. The Giants throw down for Rafael Devers. What does that mean to the Cardinals in their pursuit of a playoff spot? We will get to that and more on the Gashouse Gang. The Gashouse Gang is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. We'll be right back.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
You log into your DSP. It's confusing. Where do you build a campaign? Where's the report? Targeting's vague, CTV's tacked on and overpriced. Then you find Viant. Setup? Just a chat prompt. AI does the rest. Targeting? People-based and precise across premium publishers. Measurement? Transparent, outcome-driven. And CTV? We've led since streaming meant something. Viant is the DSP that actually gets advertising. Still trading on a desk? Visit Viant.ai to unlock real results today.
It is 85 degrees in St. Louis. The real feel is at 91 right now. We're going to get a high of 88. The weather sponsored by Financial and Tax Strategies.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Named one of Newsweek's World's Best Hospitals for 2025, Anderson Hospital is your hospital for life, delivering exceptional, compassionate care to families across the Metro East. From emergency services to specialized treatments, our dedicated team supports your health at every stage. Experience world-class care close to home. Discover the difference at andersonhospital.org.
You had a solid retirement dream, sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But with an unpredictable economy and the future feeling uncertain, you're wondering if that equity will still be there when you're ready. What if you could bank that equity right now? With Truehold, you can sell your home for its current value so you can access your equity today. You can bank the cash now and stay in the home you love with an easy standard lease. Truehold even covers property taxes, insurance, and repairs. And since Truehold hands over your equity in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you like. Don't let a shifting economy put your hard-earned equity at risk. Visit Truehold.com and receive their competitive offer on your home in just 48 hours, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Tonight, the Cards, the White Sox. Cameron Total Access 545. Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
With Bernie Miklasz and Chris Ranji, producer Matt Pajeski, I'm Tom Ackerman. This is the Gashouse Gang on KMOX. We just had a lengthy 2 segments with the Cardinals manager, Oliver Marmol. Bernie, as always, he was ready to go, prepared, ready to answer all decisions, and seems to be in a good place, even though this team went into a bit of a tailspin. As you pointed out, it's not like they got smoked in these games. They seem to be competitive. They've just got to iron some things out here.
Well, they got to get off to a better start in games, and Ollie's point was correct. I put an emphasis on the starting pitching because the starting pitching, the first 2 innings during this stretch, I mean, these guys have given up a lot of runs, and so the team's in a hole. But the offense hasn't done their part to jump out of the gate. So this sounds simplistic, but one of the things they got to do starting tonight, they just have to get off to better starts in games, especially when you're losing. The last thing you need is you come out and then, once again, you're down, 3-0. It's just, you can come back, but it's difficult to do it time after time after time. So that's on the starting pitching primarily because they have the worst ERA in the majors in June, but it's also on the offense, as he pointed out. And they've got to try to make some things happen too. They're not a great base stealing team in terms of success rate, but I've noticed their stolen base percentage or their stolen bases account was, by their standards, pretty high in the first month. Second month, not as many. And this month, they've really done minimal base stealing attempts. So there's got to be a way maybe to push for some runs, but they're not getting guys on as often. The offense has gone down from where it was at the end of April. It dropped in all the categories in May, and it's dropping again in June. So they're kind of up against it now. And I think that it's tough to put a team back together when there's so many areas of the team that are not functioning well all at the same time. So it's going to be a big challenge for not just Oli and his staff, but also the players, because they've got to improve several areas of the team.
Where do you guys stand on this idea? Because I got a text from a friend when we were in the middle of the last segment, and Ollie's response on, the Weather Holt and Sajasi about maybe giving them playing time. And again, I understand they are both in very different parts of their careers. So you'd probably taken your time a little bit more with Weather Holt than you would Sajasi, right? But the idea that they have so many players on the roster right now, I think that need to play even if they are underperforming. It doesn't sound ideal. And I know the idea is to win. Got to win games. That's the most important thing. It is true, but also don't they have to have a full body of work on some of these players for the remainder of the year so that they can make definitive decisions on them by the time we get done? I mean, is it wrong to see it that way? Because I do understand where Ollie's coming from when he says, who are they going to play for? Who is Sajasi going to play in place of? I don't disagree with him on that idea.
Well, and it's a runway season, and they said that over and over and over and over again, and for the most part, they've lived up to that. Although they should have been playing Gorman more, but I also understand he was rebuilding his entire hitting approach, and that takes time. Now we're seeing the results, but the problem, this is strange because there's nothing bad about winning, nothing bad at all about winning. But when the Cardinals went through that stretch where they were 12-1 and I think like 14-3, I think all of us looked at them as like maybe being a better team than they actually were. Then you're starting to think, oh man, wow, they really are a contender. Wow, they really are good. And it's always when a team goes in the season, you're not expecting much, and the management of the team has set the season aside to be a runway season to look at young players. Then you win and it's great, but then your expectations are raised, and then people expect you to deviate from your runway concept and then start making decisions based on the short term, based on the next game, and then next game after that. And that's where being stuck in the middle is kind of a problem, or it's certainly a big challenge. So, but I still maintain that there's a way to get Thomas Sajasi some playing time up here, because one thing, Oli talks a lot about, the schedule and guys get worn down. And I agree with that, but we all agree watching some of the infielders, especially, but also Victor Scott, these guys could use more breaks. They just could use, more rest days than they've been getting. And that's an excellent way to give Sajasi a chance to energize things. But Oli also said, he basically said, that's not my decision, though. The front office decides whether Sajasi comes up or not.
That was an interesting point from him. And my main concern is the rotation. I think that they can get guys hot. I think that Donovan being hurt and them playing short was tough to watch. But I think they have some firepower, and they just need to get guys back. My concern is the rotation, Bernie. I don't know if one of these guys were to go down, what the heck do they do? I mean, they're right now dealing with Liberatore. I'll take Ollie's word that Liberator's fine, but he looked like somebody who was starting to wear down a little bit. He can't take this innings load.
They have McGreevy to snap in, as we all know, but then then there's a situation. Well, what if you get a couple of injuries? I guess you could get Matz back in there, but then again, he would need time to build up a little bit. But the starting pitching, again, it started to turn for the Cardinals in the Texas series, where they lost 2 out of 3. And so they're 5-11 beginning with that series since that weekend, including that weekend. And in the 11 games they've lost, the starting pitchers have allowed 48 earned runs in 57 innings. That's a 7.57 ERA. You're not going to win many ball games that way. Now, listen, in fairness to Palante, had a good start along the way. Fetty had a good start. Another one that wasn't too bad. Michaelis had a good start. I'm not saying every single start in the 11 losses was bad, but it's amazing how many home runs and doubles and even triples Cardinals starting pitchers have allowed during this stretch. I mean, they're giving up a massive slugging percentage in the games that they lose. You're not going to win if that continues to happen. I mean, because you're asking your offense to score seven or 8 runs a night, and that's not going to happen. The offense isn't that good. It's okay, but it's not that great.
It's part of my concern that I've had for weeks, and I know we talked about it a little bit, but the fact that they were such a pitched contact team, that it's great, if your defense is good, but eventually those balls are going to find grass, or they're going to find their way to the seats. So And again, we've made the argument for the offense that, hey, just put the ball in play. Anything can happen. Same is true for the offense too, or for the opponent.
The batted ball luck has. I wrote about this and talked about it on KMOX. The batted ball luck has absolutely turned on the Cardinals. And then, as soon as I say that, some people are like, "Oh, don't make excuses for the pit." I'm not making excuses for anybody. When you're striking out hitters at a rate of 17% and your swing and miss rate is terrible, the ball is going to be in play over and over and over and over and over again. And you don't have the control. Once the ball's in play, the pitcher has no control what's going to happen. So they either hit it right to one of your fielders, or to your point, Ron, they start finding holes and they start hitting doubles and triples. They start hitting in the gaps where nobody can get to them. But I think this month, like Cardinals starting pitchers, the balls in play against them, the batting average is like 340 or something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's outrageous. Yeah. But the pitchers also need to do a better job. They need to locate their pitches better. They're off in their location lately. But that's what happens when you have a pitch to contact staff. The batted ball luck at some point during the season will turn against you. And then maybe it'll smooth back out again.
This is the Gashouse Gang at 12:49. One more segment coming. Bernie Miklas, tell us about Saliga Heating and Cooling.
It's my pleasure. Saliga Heating and Cooling is a Daikin comfort dealer. They've been taking care of St. Louis family since 1927. Dan Saliga, my friend who owns and operates the family business. He's the fourth generation owner and operator, I'm sorry. And the thing about that is because it's in the family with their name and their reputation and the standard to uphold, you benefit as a client that will call and utilize Saliga Heating and Cooling. You know why? Because that family name means an awful lot to them. The reputation they've built means an awful lot to them. So you can count on the integrity, the honesty, the professionalism, the class. They'll look for ways to save you money, and they handle just about anything you need. And I want you to look into the priority scheduling. It's a maintenance program that will extend the life of your equipment, and you also get some other perks like priority scheduling. Find out more about all this. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. That's SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit CantorInjuryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Chris Ranji for Siteman Cancer Center, and you have to know that you are somebody's favorite person, and your health matters not just to you, but it matters to people who care about you. Getting screened early for any cancer, whether it's colon or breast cancer, prostate cancer, or lung cancer, it is important to do that. Siteman has set up a website called GetScreenedNow.com. And when you go to it, it's going to help you find a location nearer you. If you live a little farther out from St. Louis and don't want to make the trip into the city, you can get screened closer to home. GetScreenedNow.com, because for me, I'm over 45. It's time for that colonoscopy. Third leading cause of cancer-related deaths in both men and women. And GetScreenedNow.com will help you find a location that is good for you. Doing it early, really, really important. GetScreenedNow.com. On the Chris and Amy Show, we're launching 100 Acts of Kindness because apparently honking less in traffic doesn't count as charity.
We're teaming up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to prove kindness doesn't have to cost a dime.
Hold the door, say thank you, help your neighbor take out their trash without throwing yours in first.
No grand gesture required, just small, simple acts of human decency. We believe in you.
Join us and share your stories with hashtag 100KindActs.
Kindness, it's like a group hug without the awkwardness.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Now back to the Gashouse Gang, sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling and by Anderson Hospital on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Chiefs Cards fan Talk 22 says last year the White Sox beat the Cardinals 2 out of 3, and the White Sox were terrible. I know that. I did that series with Jim Edmonds, and that was like the low point of the season. I thought the coolest thing that happened that series though was that Steve Stone walked into the booth and like, hey,
he's great.
And he wanted to talk Cardinals. That was a fan moment for me growing up watching Harry and Steve together. It was like, wow, this is really happening. But to his point though, I do think this is a big series for the Cardinals. They cannot lose this series. You think of the Cubs coming and the Reds. Do not overlook this and make sure that you get them. Bernie, let me ask you, the playoff race really took a change a couple of days ago when the Giants went after Rafael Devers. That was a huge trade that I think alters the NL West race.
Yeah, and I'm glad you framed it that way, because there's been a lot of local comments, fans and media about how, getting Devers is relative to what it means for the Cardinals. Listen, I don't mean to be that guy, but the Giants were already better than the Cardinals, and the Giants' playoff probability is much, much, much higher than the Cardinals. So the Giants are going to be able to finish with more wins than the Cardinals because they're a better team overall. But now they have a bat. So, yeah, they're better. But by getting the best available bat that anybody could trade for in 2025, the Giants are firming up their weakest part of their team, which is their offense. And what that's going to do is give them a better chance to win the NL West if the Dodgers slip. It'll give them a better chance maybe to get the first wild card. I mean, they're trying to move up in the hierarchy of the National League. And with all due respect to the Cardinals, the Cardinals have to worry about the Cardinals, and the fans have to worry about the Cardinals, because the Cardinals got to get fixed if they have any idea of competing. It's not about what the other teams do.
Yeah, and you better take care of business against this White Sox team because they stink. Right. They stink. Yeah, you know this for a fact. The Cardinals are better than the current White Sox, who are not as bad as they were last year, but it would be difficult to be that bad again.
Boy, this show just flies, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Appreciate it, guys, very much. Big game tonight, really. Coming out of this off day, let's see what they're made of. 6:40 start against the White Sox. For Bernie Miklasz, Chris Ranji, Matt Pajeski, I'm Tom Ackerman. And for Oli Marmol, thanks for joining us.